always been a colour-innerer. Always. And I never even thought about doing anything else, ever since I was a kid. So I did art and design at TAFE, and for me, coming from school, normal school, to drawing and painting and sculpture and all of that was awesome. And then from there, I did my degree in graphic design, only because there was no illustration courses around. I was never a great designer, but it kind of led me into illustration. I've been freelancing since 30 years, yeah. These works for me are mostly about endangered wildlife adapting to a changing landscape. I mean, their reality is pretty depressing, so I wanted to create more of a hopeful, optimistic view. And the beauty of art is that you can interpret that any way you like. When we used to go to Tartha on holidays, I started making little fish and boat sculptures, and I've always been drawn to the ocean, so a lot of my paintings are based around the ocean. But then it kind of grew from there, and I started doing polar bears, and then it became more about climate change and endangered animals. It sort of evolved, and that's all it is now. I always start with the background. I think most people start with the background, and you can't wait to get to the feature or the focus. When I was younger, I used to start off, if I was doing a portrait, by drawing the eye, and that would get you motivated to finish it. So for example, that tiger, when I started with that big tiger, and I loved painting him, and he started coming together nicely, and that sort of motivates you to finish the rest off. I did a portrait of my son, Bailey, and I was doing it in acrylic. It was quite big. And then I did this course in Adelaide with Robin Earley, came back and went over it in oil and never looked back. It was so much more fun, and that was the turning point. COVID was great for me because I got back to painting, became passionate about it again. I've been going to Tartha for over 40 years. It's not only a great place for relaxing and recharging your batteries, it's also really good for inspiration for me. I get a lot of ideas by just walking along the beach. I might see something in a bit of driftwood or some rock formation, or it could even be the colour of the water. Might spark an idea. Like with that panda bear, I took a photo of the rocks, and I thought if I put a bear on there, then all of a sudden you've got a story, you've got a narrative to the painting, which is something I'm particularly interested in. Probably because of my background as an illustrator, there's always a story in there. Usually I'll think about composition first, how to get the most impact from a subject, and then sometimes that can lead me to think about that subject in a slightly more surreal way. I don't see all the details straight away, but I'll see like a composition. I look at the shapes of things first, and then I'll add things to it or take things out. That's the challenge, and the reward is when you have an idea and it actually comes up how you envisaged it, which doesn't always happen, and sometimes it can lead to a whole completely different image, which is okay, but the reward is when it turns out as you expected.